Hello, Pauper fans. This is Mathonical, and you're joining me for round 2 of the Pauper Challenge from October the 29th. Looking at our opening hand, it's another one of those questionable keeps. We do have a Chainer's Edict and the ability to cast it, but we don't really have any white sources. This one can go either way. It basically depends on how risky you are, if you'd like to keep it or not. So myself, I ended up shipping it back because I know how important white is in this deck, and I prefer to try and have a white and a black source in our opening hand. This hand is a lot better. We do have only 2 mana sources, but we have the ability to cast Doomblade and Chorus Skyfisher, Pestilence for late game, and an Aven Rift Watcher, which is a decent way of buying some additional time to get the Pestilence online. Looking at the top of our deck, Barrens, that is great. We would like to hit additional land drops, so we're going to go ahead and keep that on top. Alright, so now we have the option of, if we want to, we can play a Chorus Skyfisher and bounce the land. We could play Doomblade if they played a creature, if it was like Stomp or something, but instead we'll just go ahead and play the Barrens, get our mana online, give us more options later on. Also gives us the ability to, if we draw into something, to get some value of the Skyfisher, we can do that. The Aven Rift Watcher is one such thing. Being able to bounce it just gains an additional 4 life and resets its time counter. We're just going to go ahead and not play anything this turn because we do have a Doomblade available if they try and go for basically an end of turn Brainstorm. We don't want them to have additional fairies on the field to keep their Spellstutter sprites online. So when they tapped out a Spellstutter sprite mana, we go ahead and kill one of their fairies just to reduce the ability to get Spellstuttered. Now that they have no fairies on the battlefield, we can go ahead and play our Chorus Skyfisher to reset the Aven Rift Watcher. We didn't crack the Evolving Wilds there. That was a bit of a just forgot to do it moment, so it happens. Getting the Night's Whisper is nice there. We get to draw some additional cards, draw over a mulligan. Getting the Rift Watcher back online is great. We're just going to be able to attack here, and basically, we don't mind if they attack and trade, and that's fine for us. Pestilence is not a card I was expecting. They're able to tap our guy, and this means I'll be able to swing in for quite a bit of damage, and we won't be able to block. So we're just going to have to play around Pestilence as best we can in the future. Them not flipping Delver here is good news for us, but it turns out they had a Ninja with D-Power, so they are able to draw an additional card off of that. Not replaying the Delver is really signaling that they have a Spellstutter sprite, so we have to be careful not to play into that at all. But they don't have Counterspell magic up, so we go ahead and play our Pestilence and use it to wipe the board. We attack, knowing that they have a Spellstutter sprite. If they want to trade it, that's no problem. If they want to go ahead and remove our Chorus Skyfish to get rid of the Pestilence, that's also fine. We've gotten our value out of it for this round. But it turns out they're just going to go ahead and play Squadron Hawk, so we don't have to really worry about our Pestilence getting taken off the battlefield. And now we're able to, for 1 mana, kill most of the creatures in the deck, so this is a pretty good spot to be in for the Orzhov Pestilence deck. This is the kind of board state you want to get to. Trinket Mage is some spicy tech. Means they get some extra value and are able to find a Bone Splitter. We're not too concerned about that, since we can basically wipe it off the battlefield every single turn. We've also got a Disfigure in case we want to keep our Thraben Spectre around. But we can use this opportunity to go ahead and bounce our Thraben Spectre with, of course, Skyfisher before doing 2 damage, wiping their creature, and replaying the Thraben Spectre. This is the value. Go ahead and get it for some damage, and our opponent concedes here. They know that there isn't really a way to get back into this since they don't have a way of dealing with Pestilence or dealing with all of our creatures. So they go ahead and concede. And we will jump into game 2. I now have the sideboard ready. So for this matchup, I'm never really a fan of having the Palace Sentinels in when they have a lot of flyers like that, because if you're not ahead on the board, playing Palace Sentinels is absolutely terrible, so I take those out. I bring in a couple extra Doomblades. Basically, they're playing a bunch of Delvers and Ninjas. We would like to remove those from the battlefield. It's also good at just getting rid of a fairy. Instant speed counter to their counter if they're spell stuttering, and they need all of them on the board. There's an argument for bringing in some Duresses, but I didn't see a ton of spells out of his deck, so I ended up not bringing any of those in. There's also the option for a Raven's Crime if you think the game's going to go long and just want to kind of reduce their hand size, but I felt like just swapping the 2 Palace Sentinels for 2 Doomblades would be sufficient for this one. And we'll take a look at our opening hand. This is a solid opening hand. We've got 3 mana sources. I just figured to deal with an early creature. Pestilence is the card that we're looking for in this matchup. As long as we can get that down the board, we're able to board wipe them over and over again. And yeah, Prismatic Strands, that can be relevant once in a while, so we'll go ahead and keep this. Our opponent starts on a Fairy Miscreant. That's pretty normal. We're basically just hoping that they don't have a turn 2 Ninja. Thankfully, they did not. And now we're able to get to the point where we can start leaving up Disfigure in case they in case they try and Ninja us next turn. They just end up attacking us for 2. They don't use a Ninja. That's fine by us. We'll go ahead and cycle our Ash Barrens. We do want to make sure we have as many swamps as possible, especially if we're on a Pestilence plan. We really only need 1 or maybe 2 white sources to really get our deck in action. When they play a Pestermite, I was debating casting one of her removal spells there, or Disfigure, but since we have these Pestilences in hand, I was a bit on the fence. I thought maybe we could wait a bit more. Turns out we didn't draw a land, and I had to discard anyways. The Guardian's not going to do that much currently, and I'm just going to go ahead and try and cast a Prismatic Strands here to reduce the damage we're taking. Turns out they had Daze. Well, I'd rather them Daze our Prismatic Strands and not the Pestilence if we were to cast it on turn 4. So here we're just going to try and reduce the number of creatures they have. Turns out they had another Daze, so I'm actually really glad that they ended up dazing our Thraven Spectre. This means that with 2 Dazes down, it's very unlikely that they have a 3rd Daze for a Pestilence. We would still like to play around Daze as much as possible, except now they've shown they have no cards in hand. So we can go ahead and play Pestilence, except for the fact that they would kill us unless we can activate it right away. We did not draw a land, so that's not going to work. Aven Riftwatcher is a really good draw. It means that we will be able to block and basically not die this turn. Drawing a land would mean we win this game here, since they have 1 card, they may have a counterspell. Turns out not working, we didn't draw the land, so we do need to try and gain as much life as possible, otherwise we'd be dead on board. Being able to play the Lone Missionary into a Core Skyfisher means it's going to buy us multiple turns, being able to replay this Lone Missionary. And the Core Skyfish on the board, if they're not able to kill it, means we get to start blocking and dealing with some other creatures. Here we go ahead and block the blue creature with the intention of Prismatic Strandsing pro-white, but because they played the Ninja, I end up going for pro-blue, I believe, just because I don't want them to draw additional cards. Yeah. So we were able to replay the Lone Missionary, since we weren't going to be able to cast Pestilence and use it on the same turn. This was able to keep the Ninja back from basically hitting us, drawing an additional card. Here, the safest play, I will quickly pause and walk through it. Basically, since we know that they have a Pestermite in their deck, and we need to play around that and as many other things as possible, we don't know what the last card in their hand is, and we don't know if their Delver is going to flip next turn. So basically, by playing the Gift of Rezova on the Lone Missionary, the idea is attacking with it, they can't block, we're going to be able to gain 3 life. That puts us up to 8. If the Delver flips, they can only hit us. Well, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'd be able to block the Ninja, and we would go to 1. That I feel like that gives us the best option, because next turn, if they had a spell on top, we'd be able to attack the Lone Missionary, go up to 4, play a Pestilence, and then wipe most of the creatures off their board. Basically, if they have a Pestermite, either way, like they'd have to have it in hand. Either way, it's not that great. They'd be able to tap our creature right away, and then we're basically looking at lethal on board. So that's not something we can't play around. Delver flipping, and we leave up the Lone Missionary to block with. That can lose to various spells, probably. So I just felt like it was best for us to gain the life right away, just so that way we can play around what I thought was the most things, but feel free to leave comments down below if you feel like there might have been a better line here. Either way, this is the line I went with. Basically, it was going to leave us at 1 life, is what I predicted. And yeah. Returning the Scoured Barrens, basically we're planning to gain another life through that next turn as well. Since they didn't attack with anything, that leads me to believe that they don't have anything going on, so I'm just going to try and run out a Pestilence here, and they end up conceding. Turns out they didn't have anything in hand, and being able to activate this for 1, leaving with only a Ninja. Yeah, that was basically game over, because now we've got our infinite board wipes online. So we were a little bit lucky that our opponent didn't draw anything on the previous turn, because there wasn't a ton of things that we'd be able to play around. And yeah, getting a little bit lucky wins us round 2. I'll see you in round 3.